and good morning, good afternoon or good evening, and welcome to a Gooner Ramble Behind Enemy Lines special. As it is a special, we need a very, very special guest, and today we just have one. He's an Olympic Games silver and double bronze medalist, a gold, silver and bronze world champion, a triple gold European champion and a gold Commonwealth Games champion. But more importantly than any of this, he is a Gooner Ramble Platinum podcast guest. You loved him last season, you're going to love him this season. It should be Sir Kriss Akabusi, but it's Kriss Akabusi MBE. How are you, Kriss?
Gitsy, come on! We got the Gooners behind enemy lines. Bring it on!
How you doing? Are you okay?
Yes, mate. I'm in fantastic shape, and I'm really looking forward to the weekend. You know, at West Ham we've got a little interlude. We're off to Europe. We're playing a European match tonight as we speak. But I think most of us are looking forward to Sunday.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Now, last time we spoke, Kriss, Arsenal were just about to play West Ham at home. You still had Sam Allardyce as your manager, and it was a 3-0 win for Arsenal with Flamini of all people on the score sheet. But since then, you've got a new manager in Slaven Bilic, who we predicted. So people are asking, will me and you do their lottery numbers at the weekend, or is that something we're not going to do? Or I'm not Devon Brown, so I don't think me and you can predict it, but we can have a go maybe. But no. Like you said, you started your pre-season on July the 2nd. It feels like you've been playing for ages. But you were with a 3-0 win over Lusitans, and you've got Astra tonight in the Europa League. They've got 2 away goals on you. How do you see that going, and what team do you think you'll take over there? Because there were reports you might take a sort of youth team, youth-based side. Maybe Jenkinson will play, obviously, because he can't play against us because he was a loanee. So, but yeah, how do you see that going?
So we've got Jenkinson, we've got Nolan playing, and then we've got our second team out. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, the second team should be good enough to beat Astra. And actually, it's just a cup game. It's a one-off cup game. Forget where it is. It's a cup game, and West Ham have got to win.
Yeah.
Or I mean, technically we could go through on a 3-3 draw on a West. But we just got to win. And the team is good enough to win. You know, we've got Mars Zurati in there. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got this new Lanzini, I think his name is. Lanzini in there. You know, so we've got some guys who want to prove themselves. And you know, we're a Premier League outfit, you know, and we should expect to win. But if we don't win, it don't matter. Because you know, for West Ham this year, it's about staying in the Premier League, going to a new stadium in the Premier League, and hopefully doing something that we haven't done for a very long time, which is play football, dare I say this, a little bit the Arsenal way. On the bus!
Yeah, express yourselves a bit more. I mean, that's what we were talking about last time, wasn't it? In that, you know, with Allardyce, you can grind out your games, and you know, you've got a bit of a physicality. I mean, some people are saying you've got more of a physicality now, considering you got there for the fair play league, and you've got 4 red cards was it since you started the Europa League?
Yeah, you know what? That could only happen to West Ham.
That's very true. That is very true.
You know, and you know, our manager gets sent to the stands, and we get 3 red cards, and I mean, it can only happen to West Ham. West Ham, we never do anything the easy way. We've always done things the hard way. But we know we're loving it. I mean, I've been to 2 of the European games. It's been fantastic fun to see us playing European matches. We're very naive. You know, you lot, you know, you've been playing in Europe for a long time. You know that you can't tackle, you can't hold on in the physical manner you do in Premiership. At Europe, we haven't got that. And so our defenders, you know, have grabbed a bit of shirt and have had a card, and they've not learnt yet. You know, and it wouldn't surprise me, as stupid as it sounds, as if somebody gets sent off again tonight, because we just haven't learned. You've got to keep your hands by your sides and not on people's shoulders. This is a learning curve, you know, and you know, we were quite lucky to get into Europe. You know, by the time we get another sniff at Europe, hopefully we'll have learnt that lesson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from watching European football, you know, being an Arsenal fan for as long as I have, you have to, like you've said, the referees in that game, I mean, they just give fouls for anything. It's not like the Premier League where some of the refs let a bit go by and everything. They will just blow the whistle for everything. It's very stop-start. You know, some people say it's a bit like American football, the way it just stop-start in Europe. But yeah, like you said, hopefully West Ham and your defenders and everything else can come to grips. And you know, some people say Europa League's a burden, but I think your fans have been so starved of any European football for so long. I think you'll take the burden on, won't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, it's only a burden when you're used to sort of getting into Europe through into natural selection places. But for someone like us, I mean, it's just been beautiful. You know, like it's been early season. We've used it as part of our pre-season training. We've had competitive matches as part of our pre-season training, and it's been great. You know. The very first game, it was a full sellout crowd. Now, at West Ham, a full crowd is 35,000, not 6,000 you guys are used to. But it was buzzing. It was a lovely hot summer's evening. It was buzzing, and it was a great experience. And we'd love to experience Europe again. Yeah,
and I mean, dare I say, if you win the Europa League, you've got the added bonus of you going the Champions League now. So can you imagine next season, maybe if you do win the Europa League, you get that nice new ground and you have Champions League football in there. I mean, if you want a buzzing atmosphere, you really would be turned up to 11, wouldn't it? If you manage that.
Fantastic. I mean, West Ham, we've got a lovely little song with Feather Blowing Bubbles, and part of the strain says, "Just like my dreams, they fade and die." So we won't go too far. We don't get, and West Ham fan, we don't get so excited. We just love watching great football.
Yeah.
We love the unexpected victories. You know, again, I don't need to remind the Gooners who the last team was to smash you guys up at Highbury. Who was the first team to smash you guys up?
I was there for both. I was there for both.
Fantastic case, West. You know, we love that. So, you know, it's great to play in Europe. We hope to have a little bit of a cup run. If we win it, great. If we don't really care. We've had a cup run. Same in the domestic cup competitions. Let's have a little bit of a run. Again, I was there 2006 with my mates at Cardiff. We were 3 minutes away from winning the FA Cup. When all of a sudden, this guy who'd been limping for the last 4 minutes gets on his feet. Gerrard!
Yeah.
It was just West Ham. That's just West Ham. That's our story. You know, I've seen us win a couple of times. 75 FA Cup against Fulham, 1980 FA Cup against who?
Arsenal.
Yay! We love the Gooners remembering that sort of stuff. Yeah. So every now and again we get a lovely pleasure. But listen, we're West Ham. We just enjoy great football against great teams. It's great to play you lot, Manure, City, Chelsea, and every now and again we get the unbelievable victory. We got it against Man City last year. We got it against Liverpool last year. You know, it's just phenomenal. And hey, who knows? Even though we dare say it, wouldn't it be lovely from our perspective to go to the Emirates and beat the mighty Arsenal? Get in there!
Well, I was going to say, Arsenal started their pre-season 13 days after yours on the 15th of July. We've only conceded one goal, which was an absolute wonder goal from Ross Barkley. Like, nobody could really say they could have any goalkeeper. And somehow, some way, Arsenal have done a treble of sorts in the pre-season. So we've already got 3 trophies. I mean, we talked about it on the previous podcast. Petr Cech, in every game that he's played so far, has at the end of it had to do a trophy presentation. So if we beat you at the weekend and the 90 minutes finishes, we're going to have to get a little stand or something, get him a little cup from somewhere and present him. He's used to winning a trophy after every game.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I tell you what an addition he is to you.
Yeah.
What an addition he is. I mean, you know, I watched the Charity Shield. And you can just see
he kept us in the game, didn't he?
It's gonna be immense. I mean, there were a couple of things. You know, there was one save he did where he smashed himself into the goalpost. And you know, if Selesny had been there, that'd have been in, mate. You know, that'd have been in.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I mean, let's not big up Arsenal too much, but you got to think that you lot are going to be there and thereabouts. Any team wanting to win. I mean, I reckon you guys could be the best team in London this year.
Oh yeah. I hope so.
That might not be good enough to win, but I think you could be the best team in London this year.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said about Szczesny, the thing I've realised is, you know, and people say that's quite rich from you coming from a 23-year-old, but it feels like we've got a man in goal. I think for so many years we've had like kids, you know, Szczesny. he's had the potential, but he's older than De Gea and all these other keepers, and yet he hasn't advanced. And yet De Gea and Courtois and the rest of these young keepers of this world, they're at like the next pinnacle. They're just, if Cech's, on his way out and he's towards like the Buffon type of level, and then Neuer's obviously at the top, and then you've got Szczesny's nowhere near that pinnacle. So hopefully he goes out on loan to Roma and sorts himself out. But I don't see him coming back now. I think Cech's got a good. Goalkeepers, I remember Dino Zoff lifting the World Cup at 40 odd, so you don't know how long they can go for.
Oh, of course. And when you think how far when people say he's on his way down, he's on his way down from a very long way up, and he's still got many, many steps before he gets down to being a super goalkeeper. But he's brilliant. He's superlative, and you can see it. And I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Cech came into the dressing room, got the defenders, and said, I keep clean sheets. Yeah. He looked at your defenders as, I keep clean sheets.
He did say he doesn't concede goals. He doesn't like to concede goals. So
and so the defenders are under no illusion what he expects. And when Man United were really good, it was because Cech and then Van der Sar were just as commanding, and they marshaled the defenders, and they said, "Listen, fellas, this is what it's all about." And I don't know the Seaman story, because Seaman's a little bit more genteel, I think, than that. But Cech has said it quite clearly what his expectations are. I reckon you lot, Cech, Koscielny, mate, you guys are going to be a tough nut to crack, which is unusual, because normally when you play you lot, you know that, okay, you're going to be swarming all over the pitch, you're going to be a great attacking proposition, but you always know there's a little bit of soft centre in your defensive midfield and your defence. I think it's going to be very hard to find this year.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing with Cech as well is when he come in, I've never heard a player that Arsenal signed say it. In his first interview, he said, "I'm going to make this team have a stamp on Europe," which for me is unbelievable, because that's the one thing, every Arsenal fan clamours for is Champions League. And for him to say, "Look, I'm going to put my stamp on it and try and get us as far as we can go," I absolutely love it. I would have loved to have been the first London team to do it, but obviously Chelsea and the Rubles got there first, so we can't help that. But still, talking of additions, West Ham, you've got a few. You've got Darren Randolph from Birmingham City, you've got Dimitri Payet from Marseille, who's an exceptional young player. He's meant to, some of the stuff that I've read and seen, he looks like a fantastic signing. You've got Angelo Ogbonna from Juventus, a very sturdy, no-nail centre-half. That's a good signing. Pedro Obang, who's from Sampdoria, I believe. He's a great little centre midfielder. He should link well with Koyate, hopefully. And then you've got Nene, I think, who you had before, but you've sealed it. Was he just a loan or something?
No, Nene, he's done one. We've released him.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I was reading yesterday that Nene was on there. And then you got Carl Jenkinson from us. But who else would you say West Ham need? Obviously Song's being talked about, and then from what I read from some people is he's obviously got this ankle injury and this ankle problem. Apparently he was doing a medical, was it yesterday or over the weekend, and he won't be available to play till September. But he's still someone that Bilic and West Ham want to get over the line. But I've also seen you linked with, Javier Hernandez or Charlie Austin. I think if you got one of them two, your fans would be buzzing. You talked about Zarate earlier, and he obviously had to go on loan to QPR last season, and we all know what kind of player he can be. He scored a cracker, didn't he, in that Europa League game the other week? It was an absolutely brilliant goal, apparently. But someone like Javier Hernandez, he's of that stature. You like your small sort of forwards at West Ham, don't you? You like your Defoes and everything. I think he'd be superb, and you can play him, dare I say, when he's fit and back with Andy Carroll in a 4-4-2 system, and it can be a bit like the Heskey and Owen of England of old. You've got that big man, little man partnership.
Yeah. I think Hernandez is the standout one we're talking about. We're talking about a guy called Raul Jimenez as well. Yeah. And Charlie Austin. I tell you what, any permeation of those two into our club will make us, certainly top 10, top 12, top 10 club. That will be just brilliant, because, it's been a long time since we've had, the Cotties of this world. You won't remember Tony Cotty, but he was a little poacher. Yeah. He was, getting himself nearly 20 goals a season. And we're looking for somebody that's going to guarantee us 15 to 20 goals in a season. And I think what might happen, we've got Sacco, who looked like he's on his way last year to doing that. If you get somebody else with him, and then you've got what you just said, you've either got the two sort of poaching movement sort of strikers in Sacco and Hernandez, or you've got the big man, little man with the Carroll Hernandez type role, or Carroll and Charlie Austin sort of role. But whoever it is, every team, you need a potential threat, and you need someone to sort of type the defence and keep the defence organised and keep the defence busy. And over the last couple of years, we really haven't had that. Andy Carroll, part due to injury and part due to the way that we play, has scored 5 goals a season.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
No.
Our top scorer last year was Sacco with 12 goals in all competitions. It ain't good enough. You need to have a player that's going to get you 15 plus. I mean, how many did you get last year?
Giroud, I think he was on like 18, 19, so...
That's it. And then
Sanchez was near the 30 mark, so, you can't really complain.
No, you need a couple of guys up there. And then you see, the 5 goals a season, that 5 to 8 goals a season, that should be from your attacking midfielders.
Yeah, definitely.
So we got 5 goals last year from Downing, which was a good return for him. But so we that's what we're looking for, not your top goal scorer getting 5 goals.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem with West Ham. So look, we're really looking forward to this year. I think Slaven Bilic was a fan's favourite. And I think as we touched last year, Sam Allardyce did a good job for us. He did a good job for us getting us out of the Championship and solidifying us as a Premier League team. But Sam Allardyce trophy cabinet looked like Arsenal's did prior to the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Sam has not won a thing in his life. Promotion's the only thing he's won. Because Sam is a defensive-minded player, and he was a defensive player and a defensive manager. And there were times when the opposition would go down to 10 men, and we would stick 10 men behind the ball.
Yeah.
Last year, Spurs came to our manor. They went down to 10 men. They put 3 up front, and we had 10 behind the ball. And then when we went down to 10 men, they cleaned our clock. You can't have that sort of stuff.
No.
And so I think with Bilic, he understands West Ham's mentality, and we'd rather have free-flowing football, lose a few more games, but win more as well, and be mid-table. We're West Ham. See some entertaining football.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a crack. And that's why I'm really looking forward to this weekend against you lot, because we can't lose this weekend. Literally, we can't lose. I couldn't think of a better fixture than the one we got. Arsenal away.
Definitely. I mean, to put a stamp on your season, to beat Arsenal in their own backyard, especially considering, like I said, the way we've come out of pre-season, out of the blocks, beating Chelsea for the first time, that really will be a statement. But, going back to Javier Hernandez, I just think if you manage to get this over the line, not only this season, but next year, moving into that new ground, you're going to have lots of season tickets being sold. You're going to get people coming from Essex, from all sorts, to come and watch West Ham. But Javier Hernandez in, the Latin football community is one of the big stars. I mean, that, Mexico, that market is humongous. And for you to get him over the line, the amount of tourists and, Latin people that you can bring in, that would be a fantastic signing. I mean, a friend of mine was over in America, and he played a few games, just joshing around football in America, and he said the majority of people that come along to play were all in Man United or in Mexico Javier Hernandez shirts. And they said that they don't support Man United, they just support Javier Hernandez. So wherever he goes, he will just have such a following. And I think, Charlie Austin would be fantastic as well. Obviously, with, I like to see any English player scoring goals and doing well. I mean, it pains me to see Harry Kane do it. But just any English player that benefits the national team is all well and good. And I don't think Austin's championship level, he proved last year he can hold his own in the Prem. So if you can pull either of them two over the line, I think you'd be very, very happy. Yeah,
and you were saying about, I mean, I think I'm going into the the new stadium and having great stars like Hernandez, we won't just pull fans from Essex and Hertfordshire. We will and Kent. We will pull fans from Eastern Europe, from the main continent of Europe. We'll just imagine, West Ham are playing Arsenal at Olympic Stadium, and you are from Bolton, and you're with your family, and you're down there, and your missus goes shopping in Westfield, and you go and watch the game, and you watch a great game.
Exactly.
I think we've got all of that going on. I think the Canary Wharf is less than a mile away from our manor. You've got all the businesses that are going to buy tickets as well. I'll tell you what, it's a great coup for West Ham. That stadium's a great coup, and I do think. Well, I'm hoping, maybe this could be wishful thinking, but I do think we'll get Hernandez, and if we don't get Hernandez, we'll get Charlie Austin, because I think Charlie Austin is just a case of money. QPR 15 million, and the first team to put 15 million down will get him. I know that Newcastle are after him, but I think he's hanging out for West Ham.
Yeah, definitely. I think he'd rather stay down south for sure if the money's correct. But we'll just have to wait and see. But going on to Sunday's game, we spoke a bit in brief. How do you see this playing out? Because, like you said, I can see you taking a youth team over against Astra, and maybe a few of the players that obviously can't play against us, like Jenkinson, and maybe some of your older, more experienced players. But how do you see this panning out? Because for me, last time I said to you, I think we'll be quite comprehensive. We'll probably win 3 or 4-0, and I can only see it happening again. I think Giroud will obviously come back into the team, and his record against you is fantastic. I can't even remember it now. I see he seems to score against you every time. And last time we spoke, we talked about Oxlade-Chamberlain, and that goal he scored at the weekend. I just think this is his breakout year. I mean, the other year when Ramsey was scoring 15 to 20 goals at the start, and then unfortunately got injured and he filtered off. I just feel if Chamberlain can stay fit, this really is his season to show not only England fans but just the world really how good Oxlade-Chamberlain is. Yeah,
look, as I said, this is the best game for us. I'm not quite sure 3-0. I mean, it could be. I think there'll be goals in it. It'll be great for us to pierce the Czech defence. Be the first team to do that. There's going to be goals in it. I think it's going to be an open game. I think we can go there and try ourselves out. I think Saka's going to really love it. And I think, like you said, Dimitri Payet, he's going to be our little magical midfielder, and he's going to do loads of assists. And I think we're going to go and have fun. We can't lose. Potentially we will lose the game. We might not, and it'll be a great surprise if we don't. If we don't lose, it'll be a big surprise to everybody, including us. But we'll go down there wanting to win, playing to win, and hopefully not parking the bus. Now, we have got to learn that there are times when you need the team behind the ball, just not for 90 minutes. And so I think it's exciting. It's really exciting. The team that's got anything to lose is Arsenal. Now, I don't know if you watched it on the box. I watched it on the box, and I got a great view of Arsenal-Chelsea. I mean, for the first half an hour, Arsenal were just magical. It was just magical, the movement, the pace, and like you said, people like Oxlade-Chamberlain was frightening, and you haven't even got Sanchez on the pitch. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain was frightening, and that goal was just excellent.
It's his weak foot as well.
Oh,
left foot. Yeah.
I mean, it was, and the thing is, you know what? No backlift, and it's like it just bam! He snapped the trigger before anyone had the chance to move. So look, it's great, and that's why you're in the Premier League, and that's what you want to see. For us, it's great to get that sort of game over first and foremost, and see where we are. If it's only 1-0 or 2-1, know where we are. If it's 1-1, 2-2, wow, we're going to be euphoric. So I don't think we can lose. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be an open game. I just hope that our guys I hope our defence don't pick up a few more cards.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see it? How do you see it sort of panning out? Because like you said, you need to learn to defend better, but you also want some free flowing and some good football. I just feel if West Ham come there Sunday, and you try and hit Arsenal off the block straight away, you've got Coquelin, and if you somehow, some way manage to get past Coquelin, you then have Koscielny. And if you somehow manage to get past Koscielny now, you have to get past Big Peter with his helmet on and everything else. I just feel if you come at us like, not really gun-ho, but if you try and express yourselves and play for, I think you sort of play into Arsenal's hands. For me, what West Ham need to do is, I think West Ham have to sort of, like Swansea did towards the end of last season, just sit it out a bit, let Arsenal play themselves to death, because we're capable of doing that. It's pass, tap, 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 and eventually we get caught on the counter. And, you've got some quick players in there. If you get us on the counter-attack, pin that cross in, which we've always been prone to. I've said this for many years. And you've got someone like Zarate or Sacco or someone else to head that ball in. It could be a bad day.
Yeah, Sacco can head the ball, Zarate can't. I think, we won't come out gung-ho. I don't think we'll come out gung-ho. No, we'll never do that. I don't think we'll come out gung-ho. I do think that we will have a counter-attacking, free-flowing football sort of game. But again, I can only say what I said earlier on. I saw Arsenal versus Chelsea at Wembley last week. And Chelsea, the champions, tried exactly that, to contain Arsenal in the first 30 minutes. And they got slaughtered. Yeah. Arsenal could easily have been up a couple of goals. They got slaughtered. So I don't see us being able to out Chelsea. So there's no point in us thinking that we can, because that's exactly what Sam Allardyce would do. He was sitting and bedding and put 10 men behind and really, give you the ball in your half, let you guys ping it about, really be resilient in the last third, and hopefully, try to keep you guys out. And then someone like Oxlade-Chamberlain will get one, we'd come and try and get the equaliser, get two, and we're done 3-0. I think we've definitely got to give Arsenal something to think about. Arsenal got to know that if they are playing pretty football and got too many men up in the last third, that the team is going to break and all of a sudden stretch your defence Coquelin. I think Coquelin came out to play last year when you lot played us at our manor.
That
was the first. My nephew is an Arsenal fan. And I took him to the game for my sins. I said, "Who's this fella there? Who's he?" Because it's Coquelin. Who? And he came out to play that day. And it was Coquelin and Cazorla that destroyed us last year. Coquelin and Santi Cazorla. They destroyed us last year. And if those two boys, if Cazorla has all that freedom and trickery, and Coquelin shores up that defensive midfield area, you're a tough nut to crack. And like you already said, with Koscielny and Cech behind you, tough nut to crack. But it's not impossible. We've got to pull you guys apart. We've got to go down the right wing, down the left wing. We've got to have free-flowing football. We've got to make you guys think that you can't be just taking it easy, ping, 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 in the Arsenal way. Can't do it.
No. I mean, if you let Cazorla pull the strings like he's on a set of Thunderbirds, every team just gets absolutely annihilated, don't they? But when you've got a player that expresses himself like that, it is beautiful to watch. But maybe Payet can be your sort of Santi Cazorla. That's what that's what you paid the money for. So
yes,
hopefully.
That's exactly what we paid the money for. Because I think last year he was top of the European League assists. I think so. That's how good he actually is. We've got a real find there, and if he can find a couple of strikers, I mean, I doubt we'll have Hernandez by the weekend, but and Hernandez and Sacco on form, or Charlie Austin and Sacco on form. If he can pull the strings and put them through, because you know what, I mean, strikers win games. And you can do all the fancy football, because if there's ever been a challenge for Arsenal, it is they play footy football and don't capitalise on it. So if we could, just in the 15th minute, 17th minute, 23rd minute, 42nd minute, ping one in, all of a sudden make you pretty boys a little bit into disarray. That'd be a great day for us.
Yeah, definitely. So if I can get your scoreline prediction and your first goal scorer, Kriss?
Sacco to score in the 42nd minute, and I reckon the score is going to be... we can't lose. I'm going to say 1-1. 1-1. But I don't believe it.
1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, it's a fair result. I mean, we did our predictions the other day. I did a 3-0 Arsenal win with Chamberlain scoring again. I just think, like I said, this is his breakout season. So hopefully that comes into play. Well, just going off football quickly, Kriss, if I can, just to talk about your sport. I saw you on Sky News Monday morning with Eamon Holmes talking about the doping scenario within athletics.
Yeah.
What kind of ramifications, if proven, do you think this will have on UK athletics, especially at like a schooling level?
Well, I mean, kids are always going to play football. Kids are always going to do athletics. They're going to play tennis. I think kids are always going to do that. I just think the romance will be gone. I think kids do what they do, but mums and dads will say, think of a different career, son. Don't think of athletics. So potentially what will happen is that the kids as a base won't enter into athletics because the guys in the Premier League and the guys at World Championships are the shop window for the sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you'd like to think as a mum and dad that the sport you're seeing is being run by, you know, athletes in their purest form. But look, I'm at pains to say I don't think. I mean, I might be naive. It might be wishful thinking, right? I just don't think that the sport is rife with sport. I think rife with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the revelation over last weekend, what was shocking for me, was apparently the IAAF have had these samples for the last 12 years and have not caught one transgressee. Now that's naughty. So that's the thing for me, is that the governing body and all those people in charge of the sport have got to get themselves in gear and actually support athletes that are clean by getting those athletes that are dirty. And, you know, I don't think football I don't think is without its naughty boys.
Oh, definitely not. No.
You know, so every sport has got it, but, you know, all you need for evil to prevail is good men to do nothing. And I'm hoping that's a quote, and I'm hoping that our administration has got good men who want to do something to protect the image of the sport and for the young people coming into it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, and obviously with what people were saying and everything, and it does sort of, you know, hinder it, doesn't it? I mean, obviously people know with what's happening with FIFA, and I think people are always going to play football, but I'm talking from when I was younger, you know, and just some other things as well is a lot of us, you know, quite looked up to Lance Armstrong with everything he did with the charity, and you know, people were buying that band that he had and everything else, and all of a sudden you find out what you find out. And then it just really, you're like, oh, really? And then cycling really did take a dip in participation with younger people. And then it wasn't until, you know, Bradley Wiggins and even Chris Froome, who him himself's had some things accused towards him, which, you know, but obviously that helped get younger people back in. And where I live in Essex, you know, when the Olympics come to Stratford and we had that Olympic venue in Hadley and everywhere else, it was buzzing. And, you know, the legacy, ever since I think 2012's finished, a lot of people seem, you know, disappointed, and more things keep coming out, and you know, I just think we were supposed to have something to sustain, like a legacy, and, you know, third in the medal table as well, you know, 65 and 29 golds. And it's just all sort of piltered out, and it's only been, 3 years or so since it's finished. It's really, you know, quite disappointing, really.
I think the problem with the legacy piece is I don't think that the powers that be were organised enough to capture the enthusiasm and the energy and the euphoria of 2012. You know, I mean, I was working in the media at the time, and I remember on the closing ceremony, you know, the people that were running the sport were talking about looking for a czar. The government was talking about looking for a czar to leverage the euphoria. Well, if you're doing that at the end of the games, you're late.
Yeah,
definitely. That pressure had been in place a year beforehand. You know, you had all these parents, you know, and volunteers wanting to get into the sports and do the administration and do the coaching and do the transportation. You know, you've got venues wanting to allow people access for free. People looked into hitherto unheard sports like handball and stuff, and there was no infrastructure. Well, I mean, you haven't got a chance. You haven't got a chance of capturing legacy if you're not prepared to capture the legacy. So that's the thing with that. And look, you're always going to have bad people in every segment of society. So you can't let bad people lead the agenda. Look, track and field athletics is a great sport to get into. I got into track and field athletics when I was 17 years of age. It served me well as a sportsman, and it served me well as a businessman. All that I do today is based off the legacy of my track and field athletics. So I would encourage parents and young people to get into the sport. But more importantly, I would really demand that those that are running the sport ensure it's a clean sport.
Yeah, definitely. Well said. Well said. Well, going back to some football now, before we wrap it up quick. West Ham this season, some of your fans are saying, I reckon we'll be top 15, others are saying top 10, others are saying top 8. Me personally, I think you can get top 8, top 10. Whereabouts do you sit? Whereabouts do you see West Ham this season?
Right, so last year we were 12th. The year before that we were 10th. I definitely see us top 10. I think if we're outside the top 10, that probably would not be an improvement on last year. But 10th would be fine. I see us top 10. I'm not quite sure about top 8. I think that's a step too far. The boys would really have to gel. We'd really have to have someone like Andy Carroll come back as well to give us a different dimension. But I see us top 10. But more important, I see us playing great, attractive, exciting football. I see the fun days coming back to Upton Park. I see a great move over to Olympic Stadium. I see a cup one or two in the domestic trophies. I see more goals scored for than against. I see the odd upset against one of the top 5. And for me, top 5, you lot, Man United, Man City, Chelsea. Yeah, Liverpool. I mentioned and Liverpool. Yeah, a win against one of you guys. I see potentially being number 3 in London, which is a big statement.
Yeah,
that's a big statement because you've got Arsenal, we've got Chelsea, you've got dirty Spurs. Yeah. So for us to be but vying for number 3, that means someone's going to have a bad day. I don't see it being Chelsea or Arsenal.
No.
But yeah, that's what I say. I see us not quite doing what Southampton did last year, but certainly we've got to get ahead of Crystal Palace. We've got to be ahead of that lot. We've got to get ahead of a Swansea, a Stoke. That mini sort of table. We've got to get ahead of that lot. And I think having fun doing it. But the most important thing is, I see us in the Premier League next year going into our stadium. That's the most important thing that matters.
Well, hopefully, it's exciting times at West Ham, and it's very exciting times at Arsenal, if I dare say so. Well, Chris, I'm going to thank you for your time. Obviously, it's always a pleasure to talk with yourself and talk football, and I'm glad, to talk a bit of athletics as well, so I really appreciate that. But yeah, again, thank you so much, Chris, and good luck for West Ham for the season, and good luck to yourself and everything that you're doing. I know, obviously, maybe you might have some more media stuff to do with this athletic stuff, but hopefully, like you said, clean sport, and we can keep a clean start for the Olympics next year.
Oh, you know what I wanted to say? I also for the Arsenal to watch out for a couple of young kids who you may not know yet, but you will know them by the end of the year. Reece Burke and Reece Oxford. There's 2 young kids who will get more airtime this year, and I tell you what, the young Reece Oxford is just a beautiful player.
Yeah, is he the under 17s captain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot about him. Yeah,
he's a beautiful player. He's one of these little players who just seems to have all the time in the world. I just don't see how he does it. He's got all the time in the world. I would think that he may force his way into that side by the end of the year. A lovely little player. We've heard about Jack Grealish last year. I think he could be this year's Jack Grealish.
Wow, that's high praise indeed. Well, hopefully we see him. I mean, like we spoke about last time, West Ham have always had this fantastic academy, and I didn't really see Allardyce try and bring them through. Obviously, was it Nottingham Forest you played in the cup with the whole youth side and you lost, and there was a lot of them out there, but I think you need to bed them in gradually. You can't play a whole team of youth kids and try and win and walk it away. But hopefully we see more of them. And like I said earlier as well, anything that benefits the national team, I'm all for, because God knows we need it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, lovely speaking to you, mate.
No worries. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Under my breath. Good luck, you lot. Yeah, love to see you guys vying for the big trophy next year. And I think Yeah, I think you'd be the best club in London at least.
Oh, thank you, Kriss. That's high praise indeed. Well, I hope you're right. Well, thanks again, Kriss, and hopefully, we play West Ham again this season. Hopefully, we can have you on again, or maybe if I have to wait another season, then by all means, we'll definitely wait because it's fantastic. It's always great to have you on.
Good man, James. Take care, fella.
No worries. Thank you. Take care.